We all set? Okay, I think we're. Well, let's, yeah, I don't have a quorum yet. I know Sarah said she was gonna be a few minutes late. She's dropping her, I think it's her daughter at camp.
Max is not back.
No, you want me to try Bernard?
Is Max out for the day? I didn't,
He's on vacation.
all right, I did not hear that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can,
We can wait for Sarah, but we can't.
well, actually, there's probably enough open session.
You can open the session, you just
Yeah.
can't do any business.
Right. All right, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
We do not have a quorum, so we cannot conduct any official business, but is there anyone here that would like to comment, question, or raise an issue with this board? Yes, morning.
Name is Gail O'Donnell. And I live in the village of New Syracuse. And I have one question that I would like to ask each of the board members to answer. Given evidence of socioeconomic discriminatory outcomes existing as a result of property assessments within the town of DeWitt, will you support immediate voluntary correction of unequal taxation and the negative impacts on residents of East Syracuse?
Again, that's based on the assumption that there is unequal or unfair
That's what I said.
property assessment.
The evidence of socioeconomic discriminatory outcomes. So let's assume that there is. If there is, would you voluntarily correct them?
Well, it's up to our assessor. There, let's back up a little. This board has no authority to set an assessment. An assessor under New York state law, the town assessor is totally independent entity. And the assessments are set out of that office through the assessor. You wouldn't want a town board where the supervisor could say to the assessor, hey, that's my buddy, lower his taxes. Or that's my crony, lower his taxes. Or that, I don't like that guy, raise his taxes. That you don't want politics interjecting into the assessment process. The only authority that this board has over an assessor is the power of appointment. So we appoint the assessor, and that assessor serves at the discretion of this board. And so it's our understanding and our belief that our assessor is somewhat fair in his process of trying to establish assessments. Anyone's property who is over-assessed has the legal right to enter the appeals process. The appeals process is such that they can set up an appointment with the assessor and they can make their case. So if their property is over-assessed and the assessor agrees with that individual based on evidence, they bring in cases and they show this property, that property, and any properties of comparable size and or plan and et cetera. Okay, if the assessor disagrees, it goes to the Board of Assessment Review, which is totally independent of the assessor, and that board can overrule the assessor and lower the assessment. So if there is a list of properties that you feel or others feel are over assessed, please bring them through the legal process starting in May.
Anybody complain because they were underassessed? Just out of curiosity,
But if there are others,
what's the step if someone is underassessed?
the person who's overassessed has the ability to bring that to the board and say, my property's the same as that property that's underassessed, or my property is less. Why? And then their property either gets lowered or the assessor reevaluates and makes adjustments to the system.
But I'm not talking necessarily individually just for my property. I'm talking about the impact to an entire village, an entire community, because there is some socioeconomic discriminatory outcomes as a result of assessments. I'm not even saying they're deliberate. I am saying that I believe that there have been socioeconomic discriminatory outcomes
And
as a result.
I would suggest that your starting place is bring us a list of those properties.
I have a very partial list, but I think.
Bring
I
them.
think that you have more access to that system than I do. And I think that you should be far more aware of it, the existence. of
I own
the
property in the
inequities.
village. I look at my assessment relative to others. And the one question I use as the standard is, would my property or any of these other properties sell for the price of the assessment? If the answer to that question is no, and we couldn't get the sale equal to or greater than the assessment, then they're overassessed. If the question is, if the answer is yes, you can obtain that through open market sale, then the property's not overassessed.
And I will show that numerous properties have been underassessed than the town of DeWitt. And sadly, most of them are at the higher economic bracket. So therefore, it has
Inside-
much greater impact on the overall community when those properties are underassessed. So my point is, there has been very bad outcomes for other people because they are not assessed properly at the highest levels. And they have much larger impact overall on the community. So that's what I'm saying, and I would like an answer to that question.
May I ask a question?
Yes,
Could you please, for my sake, give some elucidate some clarity to the phrase that you use, socioeconomic discriminatory practices that have impacted others to the level that it, because just words and phrases mean something, and I need clarity so that I can understand.
okay. I'm a resident in the village of East Syracuse, and they are probably the lowest socioeconomic area in the town of DeWitt. I have personally been assessed 2 years in a row. There are multiple other properties within DeWitt, many of them in the higher income neighborhoods that have not been assessed twice in 2 years. And that actually, I have just a quick and dirty. I would like this back, but I can pass it around.
Could you email a copy of that to us?
No, but if you'd like to make a copy, you may. I can make it available to you.
Again, because we'd be more than happy to look at it. I know we've been putting.
I apologize. And you were saying, continuing on the raising of the socioeconomic discriminatory practices that have impacted. You were saying,
Yes, the village, because basically their taxes are being raised. They are paying a much higher tax, particularly to the town of DeWitt, as a result of other properties within the town of DeWitt that are not being assessed at the level in which they can be sold.
Okay.
So they're being underassessed, where many, it turns out, of the properties within the village are being overassessed.
because mine have been assessed 2 years in a row,
Pardon?
so have mine,
Okay,
been assessed 2 years and have gone up For 2 years.
Yes. And I believe that a lot of that started
For 2 years.
as a result of COVID. I think because housing generally went up during that period of time. We had people that were coming in from, say, New York City, who had a much higher amount of money to be able to say, okay, I can spend that house because they were used to doing it. So they came into the village and they bought homes and they were willing to pay more money, just as now they're saying that there are people that are willing to pay because there aren't enough houses out there to buy. And I understand all that. I'm not sure that I've ever agreed with 100% market valuation for one of the reasons, because it can be misapplied and there can be consequences to the whole community as a result of that misapplication. And so what I'm asking the board is, if you're aware of that, if you can look at your final assessment and look at the sales that have been reported in the Post Standard over the coming year and say, oh yeah, look at this. The houses that we have not reassessed or haven't been assessed at high enough level are basically underassessed. And they're the higher ones. They're the ones to get more taxes being paid on, because obviously they have more expensive property.
If, I can only speak for myself, any inconsistencies, errors in our system, we would certainly push to correct.
Okay, and
Here's an example. Right now, many of us feel that the commercial, industrial, business community in town of DeWitt is low in its assessment. And this board and several members have pushed the assessment office to look at and reevaluate. Because just what you're saying, if business is underassessed, then the residential portion of the town is picking up the tax base. So there's been discussion for the past several years of reevaluating and looking at the business sector in the town of DeWitt.
Right.
Now, one of the issues is that Onondaga County keeps giving away. Any new industry or business that's coming into the town of DeWitt is under a pilot agreement with OSIDA, and they're not paying the tax rate that they, an already established business or industry, would market. So again, there's issues with the system. We would be more than happy to look and strive to correct them. But do we have the authority to go in and correct them? No, our request is we can hire professionals. We can look at the assessor's office. We can ask the assessor to look at these issues. So again, I'd be more than happy to look at your complaint, to look at the issue or the list that you have. And if what you're saying is accurate, we would certainly strive to correct it.
And would you be able to correct the final assessment, the 2025 final assessment?
We can't
This year?
assess. No, we cannot. Again, as I opened up, we have no authority over the assessor. It's that simple.
So you can't see any correction for the unjust or unequal taxation in the village then for the year, for the current year? They're just gonna have to say, oh, okay.
No, we'd have to push towards 26.
And what happens to the people that are having a problem in 2025? And might lose their homes? Or you might say, hey, look, you didn't pay your taxes, we're gonna. I
Again,
mean, what can we do?
2025, any individual, property owner that felt they had an overassessment had the right past May in 2025 to correct
Understand,
that.
because the cost of housing has gone up, that houses have been reassessed and
And I've said this over and over again.
may not be overassessed personally. That's not what I have found the injustice to be. The injustice is there are other homes that are being underassessed. And because of that, nobody's gonna come and complain to you and say, hey, my home was underassessed, please let me pay more taxes.
But through the process, those homes typically get pointed out. If I have a house that I feel is overassessed, I'm gonna look for the houses that are underassessed for the comparison. When I go to the Board of Assessment Review, I'm gonna show this person's house is equal to mine in assessment, and it's way more of a property. It's way more of a house.
But wonder if it's not equal. Wonder if my house is way down at the bottom and the house that has not been
Again,
correctly assessed is way at the top. Then what do I do? What do residents do in that circumstance?
they point,
I mean, we have 12, 13,000 tax parcels in the town of DeWitt.
I did, but all I can appeal,
And I just saw the data you gave us and you bring up a great point. But if there's inequities within the system, we try to weed them out come April and May when our tax assessor has plenty of informal appointments with people. You don't have to file a formal grievance. You can file an informal grievance in April and May to meet with the assessor and say, hey, all these houses are underassessed and my house is overassessed. And he's gonna take that into account. He's gonna take a look at it and say, you're right, or you're wrong.
the problem is I can only appeal on my property assessment. I cannot and have not been able to appeal on the fact that it's unequal taxation because of other people, other areas being underassessed. And that's why you
How many
come to-
parcels do you think are overassessed and underassessed just in the village?
I don't know. I have not looked at exactly how many. I have not done that calculation. But I'm saying that I think that probably overall, there are more assessments within the village of East Syracuse and maybe other lower end areas of East Syracuse generally that are being overassessed rather than underassessed. Whereas in the higher end neighborhoods, I think that you would find that there are more of them that are being underassessed than overassessed. And once again, my point is when that happens, there is a much greater impact on the entire community than.
No, I understand your concept and your concept is correct. It's, again, the data speaks for itself and how do we prove that point? I mean, we've kept 100% assessment exactly for that reason, to try to keep it equal. So, people who are living in the higher end houses, like the city of Syracuse hasn't changed their assessments for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. And what's happened is definitely, I mean, they have a huge problem for what you're talking about. Town of DeWitt might have a smaller problem, but if you can point out those areas or those properties to our assessor that you feel are way underassessed.
The response from the assessor is, and they have that right to say that, it's not a comparable house. No, it's not a comparable house because I have a $200,000 house and they have a $1 million house. But if they are underassessed at $1 million, it's a much greater impact on the community in large than it is if I am.
I understand.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking everyone, will you look at that information? Do I have to supply it or can you guys look at it yourselves?
We can ask our assessor to do an analysis. Happy to have our assessor do another analysis.
Okay, and the analysis that they do is based on averages. So.
We have 13,000 properties. I mean, how do you expect us to do it? If we don't do it on averages? How we
The
gonna?
way that I did it.
You've got like 15 properties there. We can't reassess the whole town on 15 properties.
Look at the total sales. that
We
you
have looked at the total. Our
Okay,
assessment
and
looked
then-
at the total. That's
and
why
then-
he's raising everybody's assessment.
Compare it against what the assessment.
My assessment's gone up
prior years.
50% over the last 2 or 3 years.
Not talking about what it goes up. I'm talking about if it's just or unjust. And my point is, I believe
All right.
that it's been unjust.
All right.
And I would appreciate you all to look at that.
We definitely will.
Thank you very much.
yes, sir.
Is there any chance of tax successor Town of DeWitt making a guest appearance at one of these board meetings? Just to answer some general questions, and and of course, people would have to know in advance, that he is gonna be here. So the appropriate people can ask the appropriate questions.
Sure, we would schedule something similar to that type, an open discussion of assessments, recognizing that the assessor would likely answer how he does things procedurally, but his actual analysis or defense of individual properties is not likely to occur without him having the opportunity to do
I'm just talking general.
I could see us setting up a procedural discussion of the process and how it works and what he can do and what he can't do and how, it works out procedurally. Yeah, well, but I would suggest that we did that later towards the fall. I don't want this getting political. We're in the height of a political season. And then I'll close with any government, no matter what happens to the assessment, but it's your school district, your county tax, your village tax, the town tax will only increase based on the size of the budget. So even though assessments have continually gone up in the town of DeWitt, the town of DeWitt's portion of your tax bill is risen less than 2% each year. Assuming the assessment of all properties goes up 10% and the budget goes up 2%, your tax rate should go down 8%. In the last several years, what I've witnessed, and I'll use the county as the example, the assessments or the budget has increased drastically. 35% of your tax bill on your property is Onondaga County. It's a $1.6 billion budget. Our budget's 20 million. So when we talk percentages of numbers, the impact to the property owner is occurring at a much higher level. The point of everyone's sword is in the town because we set the assessment. If you take the average county tax rate, it's decreasing due to increased assessment. And they advertise every election season. The tax rate is decreased, but the budget is increased significantly, way greater than 2%. So take a look at that $1.6 billion budget and you'll be able to see where most of your property taxes are going. School districts are a different situation. They provide a tremendous service at the local level to the community in terms of education, but they're about 50% of your tax bill. And so again, only being 15% of your property tax at the town level, I'd like to take us off the point of the sword and say, for the last 20 years, our budget is increased less than 2% a year, except for 1 year, and that was coming out of COVID. We went up 3.5%. All right. Is there another individual that has a issue, question, or concern they'd like to raise with the board? Okay, with that, I'll ask the clerk to take the roll.
Supervisor Michaelenko,
Here.
Sirs Alex,
Here.
Fiorenza,
Here.
Lee Hood, here, Mannion,
Here.
and Rectichel is absent.
All right, with that, we'll jump to the Carrier Park change orders. We got- Who wants to present that? You got Doug, Tim, and Terry.
Yeah.
Can explain this to the board?
What do they have in front of them? They have a lot. It's online.
I'll tell you in a second, son, but I gotta go back to the last board meeting because it's not on this. I think we just had a cost sheet, Tim. Just looking for this. Sorry, it's taking me so long.
No.
Angel, did you email this to us or was it on Civic Plus?
I think it was, I thought it was on, but let me, I'm gonna.
So I'm looking at the July 28th date too.
What's that song?
I saw it, but it's
I saw it too, and I just can't.
not on
I
Civic
can't
Plus.
see it. It's not. Oh, I got it.
An email?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it was after the board agenda.
Where'd you find it?
I can pull up the email too.
Sit down. I can print it, it's just the basic copy. That's that, that's that. Yeah.
No, that's,
See what mine says.
That's what mine was.
Oh, that was just like that. Well, nothing's.
yeah, you can.
Sure. It's the new one?
Right, I'm gonna, get a minute. Yeah, we're gonna move to the next agenda item. All right, as you're all aware, Jack Dooling was the chair of the police commission. And, that seat is unfulfilled at this point in time. So I'd like to, slide Sarah into that position. She had, requested that slot prior, but Jack had more seniority, and so the one power of authority that the supervisor has is the power of appointment. Almost every decision that's made at the town level is a 7-member vote, but the power of appointment. So I'm recommending, what we typically do here is because everything is run through the board. I'd like to run this appointment through as well and request a discussion / motion and second so that we do get a board authorization to appoint Sarah to fulfill the chair position on the remainder of this term. Any discussion?
Be fortunate to have someone of Sarah's capability and quality to fill in for Jack, and she spent a lot of time on the police commission, so I'm certainly in favor of it, and I think it's appropriate.
I'll second.
Bernard?
Did you read my email?
It was away last week. No, when did you send this email? I obviously did not.
We can go ahead and move, because we can discuss it, but I sent you the email in May.
I apologize, but I've been out of town until yesterday. And I
No.
was trying to keep,
Email to you regarding this discussion in May.
in May.
May 13th.
May 13th.
To expedite the agenda, we can go ahead and move. I have no discussion.
Okay. We do have a quorum. All right, well, I'll entertain a motion from Counselor Mannion, a second from Joe. Any further discussion? No, Sarah, did you?
I would appreciate the position. I take it very seriously with my background. I think that I'm well positioned for it. I don't know that I'm able to vote, though. I think I would have to abstain.
Pardon me?
I think I would have to abstain from the vote, correct?
Yeah. Right. Okay, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Thank you. Fireworks permit, Lemoyne. Alana.
2 fireworks permits today. First one is for Lemoyne College on August 24th, approximately 9 p.m., duration for 8 to 10 minutes. And the second one is for Town of DeWitt for Canal Days on August 16th at behind Town Hall.
Any discussion?
Is it the same company that usually does it over at the Country Club?
And I'm not sure. Okay. And I think there's 2 different people for these. One is Technical Fireworks Inc. and the one for Canal Days is Young Explosives Corporation.
Either of them have an end time.
The Lemoyne one says the duration is 8 to 10 minutes.
Can
For
we get,
Canal Days doesn't give a duration.
can we get that out into the community via Facebook, just so we can alert the residents?
You can, if you want to send me something, I can post it on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, mostly for veterans and dog owners.
Yes, that's not it.
Thank you.
And they can put it on their website. You can put it on your website as well. You can give it to Alyssa for the news.
Yeah, the fall one is typically something that we have less problems with because it's the return to school and Lemoyne notices the date. So we all know when it's gonna happen. Spring is typically more of a problem because it's associated with Dolphy Day. And Dolphy Day is something that they announce or don't announce, and it occurs randomly. We know it's within the last week of school, but it's not a given date and time. So that's the more of the issue. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to authorize from Sarah, a second. From Joe, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. All right,
Thank you.
well, we've got the Canal Days, right? Did we do them both in the same? Yeah, did we do we do them both in the?
motion.
Yeah, all right, I'll entertain a motion from Sarah, second from Joe. Any discussion regarding the Canal Days fireworks? I'll call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. You guys good with the change order?
Just have that. It's just something that Tim Bonaparte, by the way, I'm the landscape architect or designer, lead designer on the project. This is Terrace Feature Construction Manager from Richard Gardner. He had put this together for you. I don't know if you've seen this one or this process, but so in particular, with any project, there's a certain amount of change orders that happen. There's unforeseen conditions that you end up tripping across while you're under construction. But there's a couple of rather large change orders that we want to discuss for today. Correct me if you want to jump in at any point here, but if you look down, there is a heading that says anticipated change orders. And there's one of them is dugout alternative, which is actually a credit of 60,000, which I don't think they should discuss that with Doug and Ed. It's the other three. These are undercutting 2 and 3. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Those are May, June, and July. So just to give a quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time belaboring it, but undercutting, when you get into the soils that are out there, it's a very bad rainy spring, right? There's a lot of rain. And what you end up doing is you get areas open after the trees are removed and the topsoil is stripped, you have large areas of earth. I don't know if you get the way to see what's actually going on out there. But it's a very large area. So once all that was gone in May, the site contractor needed to be able to get access into these areas to start building the field. Well, we have an independent testing agency. The independent testing agency comes out to the site and they do what's called a proof roll on large areas. That's the independent testing agency hired by the town, not by us or the contractor, says that this is what has to be removed and replaced in order to create a stable environment to be able to build the field upon. So it's based on square footage. You have a unit price for that, which is a bid price for potential undercutting. So it's not like the number came out of the sky. During bid day, we asked for what would be your unit price for undercutting? And they, site contractor gave us that and they signed that in the contract. So you have that as a agreed to price already. So the testing agency came out in May and said that X amount of square footage had to be undercut. We were recommending that. It's not something that Terry, Richard Gardner, or Pell Osborne had directed. We basically went out there and verified those numbers so that we can say that those numbers were accurate. And then we agreed with what that undercutting number was. So for May, June, and July, you can see those numbers. Every time the site contractor was ready to do a larger area of proof rolling, the independent testing agency, Kenny Geotech, came out and said, this area needs to be undercut. Now, we tried to value engineer some of these things and try to do other things to try to accommodate, these costs. However, I think that ultimately the testing agency came out and said, no, this is what we're recommending. This is our geotechnical engineering stamp we're putting on it. We have to guarantee that this is going to last for the next 50 plus years. And this is what has to be. So they basically proceeded, and that's all of this has actually been completed and done. So your site is, we'll call it bulletproof out there. It's beautiful, everything's solid, it's gonna last, the investment is gonna be there for a very long time. However, these numbers are obviously a little bit larger than we would have liked. However, talking with Doug, initially early on in April, I don't think that we were anticipating a certain amount, and we're still under that, but we had kind of anticipated what might trip across. Now, if somebody said, do you anticipate any more? We're pretty much at the end, we're done. We're up out of the ground. They're gonna be putting turf on that field, all those fields soon, so a few weeks.
Again, we approached it. Looked at 3-4 different options. This was the most cost-effective option. I think I gave you worst case scenario, $1.5 million over.
Right.
The original budget, but at this point, we got a solid sub rate. I think you're right, up to 1.1 million over the budget.
Was there, when we did meet on this, I don't know how far back, but we talked about negotiating with the contractor. Doug, was any of that done, or, did we? If we haven't, I'd be more than happy to sit down with the contractor.
Yeah.
Point.
So
These have not been paid yet, right?
everything has been, you guys have to,
Yeah.
we can certainly sit, we can have a conversation around that. However, the site contractor, we did broach that with him, but he's also of the mindset saying, well, this was a bid unit price that we provided, it's contractual. So it's not like, there's other things that they're kind of doing
Hinted he's non-negotiable.
on that piece. But however, there are other things that he's kind of doing out of good faith. Let's just say that there's a change here or a change there. He's just kind of doing those things.
Yeah.
He's being great with the neighbors. He's been very accommodating with all the neighbors on all sides. So there's a lot of things that he's kind of doing to kind of make sure that the project moves forward successfully. So we can have those conversations if you want, Ed.
Well, if they're not gonna be fruitful, usually it takes two parties to negotiate, right? A contract is only as good as both parties' commitment to the contract, right? So.
We even tried, so all the stuff is coming from Kinsellas, so we thought, maybe Kinsellas might be able to, because they're in the first phase, which is a long time ago now. We had a lot of donations and things like that, so we've exhausted everything that we can do, at least on our end.
Now, in terms of the donations, right? We're willing to provide them documentation so that then that becomes a tax credit or something viable to them. So I don't know if that kind of paperwork helps in those negotiations, but
Could, we
yeah.
could, like I said, at our end, I think we're kind of at our piece of it, but we certainly would welcome if you wanted to, we can understand with these dollar fees that you want to continue to kind of, however, let's just say the site contractor in good faith is essentially acting as a bank. He's holding these bills for suppliers, which are our local suppliers.
Okay, so now the anticipated change orders are your, I don't see a total.
Yeah, we're still negotiating some of these things. Relocating the restroom, there should be a considerable savings. I say considerable, it should be, they offered a credit. The two of us did not agree with the credit they offered. We went back to them and said, you guys need to do better than that based on what we know that the cost was gonna be, so it's still in their court. The credit for the huddle system, which is that camera system that you're aware of, Ed, there's a credit coming from that. I think you guys agreed that you didn't. Originally, part of the bid was the huddle system, but I think there were some back and forth to you guys whether you wanted to put that up now or not. All the infrastructure's in. Cabling, conduits, it's all there ready for future connection. You did buy it, but I think you wanted to not do the huddle system.
The majority of the systems in, other than the hardware.
Do the subscription with Huddle.
Whether you go with Huddle or somebody else, the infrastructure's in.
Yeah, you're not installing the cameras basically right now. And then the last one had to do with the additional cedar fence, just you wanted a price add for that additional stuff down, Grove.
Right, Larry is here. That cost was 38,000, right? And that was circulated to
That's
the,
about
33,
3304.
okay, that was circulated to the board, correct? No?
Was this on the last one, the bottom, Tim?
It was not.
It was not.
No, That's only
Bottom part.
Okay, all right.
3 weeks old, so.
So Larry is here. Do you want to speak to that, Larry? The cost of your cedar fence would be $33,304.
Well worth it.
That's again,
Does everybody know what we're talking about? I don't know.
yeah, they,
Yeah, we had, we talked about it in this meeting.
I sent it here, so got it wrong.
We have cedar fence all of it for the properties that are literally backing up to your facility. We had chain link fence, vinyl chain link fence being replaced around the facility, like the remaining piece of it, that where it was currently chain link fence. When we originally designed this, I think that the police department wanted to be able to have full view into the park from Grover and then down Roby Ave, which they have now. The privacy cedar fence that we have are on the properties that are literally backing up to your park. And I think the neighbor just wanted to replace the vinyl chain link fence that you have down the rest of Grover with the beautiful cedar fence that's there.
it's my understanding we were gonna line the fence with cedar trees anyway, so the argument or the police vision into the park would have been impeded anyways.
I think we even showed that. We just offered that up as an option. And we didn't look at that. Yeah, it's not on the plan.
That was one of.
You were just throwing ideas out,
Yeah,
but.
that was one of the,
I don't know how you guys wanna see into that park or not, but.
That was prior administration, I guess.
Larry, did you wanna weigh in on this conversation?
Yeah,
Yes.
you may remember me from a few weeks ago. Just want to remind you of what the view is from my front door.
I remember.
And then,
Batting cage. Noise, line of sight. I am the only property that has direct view like this. The beautiful fence that was put up was on the other side of Grover Street in people's backyards, not the front. They don't see the park from the front, only me. So I'm asking this board to please approve this change.
then there's the other neighbor on the corner too, that we haven't addressed.
Amelia.
She's, what's that?
Amelia.
Yes, on Roby Ave. And so we're probably gonna come, if you approve this, you're likely to go forward and approve some improvements along her property line as well. There'll be some fencing requirements.
We don't have those quotes yet, do we?
No, I don't think we fully put together a plan. You know, that like, there's a number of issues associated with Roby in terms of traffic yet that has to be resolved. The gating issue, are we putting pollards in place? How are we helping control? She claims that people have cut across her front yard to get to Roby. And so it's needs to be addressed. There needs to be a full plan in place of what we're doing with the traffic. Is it going to be traffic arrives at events over a large distance of time? Are we going to cut traffic off completely at all hours? And Roby would become only access for emergency vehicles? I think at a minimum, got to stop traffic coming out of the park at the end of the events, right? You can't have when the event is over and parking lots drain, it's a cascade of cars, and that can't happen. You don't want traffic coming out of the park and into the neighborhood. So anyways, we need to look at that. We'll ask the team to put together a traffic plan, but the board has input in this now. Let Doug, Terry, and Tim know what your feelings are towards this. We'll put together some options on the neighbor's fence on the corner too. But I know this is coming to you with pretty high price tag. If you want, you can assign me to go see if there's further reductions to be had. You can approve these change orders today. Are we under some kind of calendar deadline? I mean, I'm sure there's.
Get to work. I would
Yeah.
just say, what I heard from them is that we're under the anticipated total change order amount from what we signed the contracts.
Right.
Although these numbers may look large right now, from a macro sense, we're under what we thought it was going to be. So it could have been a series of smaller orders that amounted to this amount. And the work is already done. So it's.
Did you say that, who's acting, is it McGinnis Nelson that's acting as the bank right now, ensuring that the subs get paid out in a timely manner?
So
Okay.
we get a the general contractor at the end of the
So
site.
they're basically pushing out money that they haven't paid yet.
Yeah, since May, basically.
Okay.
So these are May, June, and July's. And
And
again,
this, the subgrade's done now. After
it's all done,
Yeah.
right? It's literally, you guys seen the aerial, right, from Terry's?
It sounds really important
Well,
to have the right base on.
on the site contractor's perspective, I mean, technically, legal ramification is the lien. project. Which we don't want to get, where everybody's in good.
No, we don't need it.
We're all working towards the end and schedule rate. There has not been any. Issue.
What I'm hearing is we need to make an
Yeah.
approval on this in today's meeting. So is everyone kind of backed into a corner here, right? You gotta make an approval on this, otherwise you're to bed.
I mean, if anybody wants to see backup, we can show you the backup from the testing agent.
I just want to table it for more research. I mean, you can wait 2 weeks probably. They've waited this long.
No.
Probably wait 2 weeks to get it too. Just so you're not rushing to make a decision. You shouldn't feel like you're rushing.
But this has been out there for this has been out there for 2 weeks or more. Last board meeting.
Check today.
Right.
Is this different than I see the total and the breakdown, but different than what was in the packet?
Slightly different. The bottom part where it says anticipated change or other pending change orders was not on the first sheet. And then the numbers. The sheet you had was about 14.2 and change. This is about 14.3 and change.
Right, it's July.
In July, and piping in July.
Okay, so is everyone comfortable with making this authorization today?
Can we anticipate having a timelier update for any further work orders coming in?
Yeah,
Just so that we're not stuck in this position. I trust that you did do the due diligence. You explained it well. But this wouldn't be fair to us if we don't have the time to do
I would
it.
love that.
Okay.
Ed and Matt wanna have me back or Terry back, whatever board meeting, we'll come and give you updates. you
That'd be
can do
great.
Aerials. Yeah, so,
Certified me.
but absolutely.
Any change?
Thank
The
you.
next major hurdle will be the turf, right? So if there's changes to be had, it's gonna come in the laying of the turf.
Actually, not much left. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? As
What
far as,
is the turf? Turf is on track,
yeah, everything's good.
In September.
great.
I think we should have talked to Rocco about and sanitary and water connection. that, you know.
And that bodes the question, is there anyone in not willing to make the addition of the cedar fence?
I think the backup that I saw and looked at substantiates as Matt just gave the clarity that I asked for. So, thanks for providing that too.
What's the timeline on each fence? One thing I do.
Sorry, what? Timeline on the
Timeline on
fence?
each.
I'd have to ask them. It's gonna be, they gotta order all the materials. It's gonna be a little bit. Yeah. We can report back,
Thank you.
on the timing of that piece of it.
Right now, the cedar fence is included on this sheet.
Yeah.
Are you willing
How
to?
soon?
I would do 4 separate. I would do the first change order for this upgrade, second change order for this upgrade, third change order for this upgrade, and I would do the cedar fence change order, and I would do them all as approvals before.
Can I get one of the updated? So I
I'll tell you afterward, yeah.
I just want to make sure I get the minutes right.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to authorize the first undercutting subgrade to add NAND piping for $264,582. Can I have a motion from Bernard, a second from Joe?
I did not get any of it.
If you got the sheet in front of you, we're taking the
He.
I got it. I got it.
the first undercutting add hand pipe for $264,582. I have a motion from Bernard and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion for the second undercutting at $717,420. I have a motion from Bernard and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. I'll have a motion and a second for the undercutting add hand piping for $130,968. Bernard and Joe, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the cedar fencing from Bernard and Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried, and I didn't list the price. That's $33,304. Again, motion's carried. Thank you. You're good, Larry. We'll have a fence.
Thank you.
We'll have to come back. Tell your neighbor, Emily, we'll look to do,
If you wanna do the credit for the huddle system.
oh, do we need a motion?
Accept it? Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
might as
can-
well accept the money.
Just about that question.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for Bernard and Joe to accept the credit from the huddle system. And that is $36,890.28. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Should we be at the which meeting? Do you want us to be at update to this?
We'll set that going. Yeah, let's see how things are progressing. I know Terry's been providing the drone footage and the board's been seeing that.
For us, it's just financials. So if you know that there's an impending change order, if you're prepared to speak to it as close as to the time we have a good estimate of what it is, that would be appreciated.
I'm gonna guess it'll be long after Labor Day.
It's usually by pay app, right?
Pay
So
app.
it's July, August will be the next one. So if there's anything anticipated, we would try to get it at least 2 weeks. Is that acceptable?
That's fair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. It looks great out there.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, guys.
my guess is mid-September. The second September meeting is probably the closest you'll get. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Usually takes a month to close books too. So any,
September 22nd, Tim.
But again, the August books won't be closed probably at September 22nd.
We'll let you know.
That's the closest. Yeah, we'll let you know. That's the closest will be. Okay, Doug, the change order on the Janesville Community Center.
Sure. Moving forward on the Janesville Community Center. Everybody's out that way, take a stop by, it's starting to shape up. It's gonna be a great addition to the units there. That being said, we've got 3 unforeseen conditions that have come up out there. And this contractor's waiting for authorization to move forward on. The first one is when they took the siding off. It looks like the siding was done by the fire department themselves. They took all the siding off. There's furring strips, little strips that you nail the siding to on the side of the wall. Those were all rotten. Many of the windowsills were rotten. So we got 2 quotes. We got one quote to put furring strips back on the new siding. These 2x4s put up 16 inches on center. One quote was to put the siding up and insulation on the outside of the wall. That cost was, the whole building was close to $50,000. So we told them that we didn't need the insulation at this time, just the furring strips. And the quote that we got from the contractor was $32,325. The second one that we had is when we started taking the roof off, while the roof trusses are out there. Started to take the roof off. It looks like the fire department had put their own roof on at one time. And the bearing walls were on the outside. They had cut the 10-inch blocks down to 4 inches and the blocks were all loose. So what the proposal is to take, it was a 10-inch block and it was only the 4-inch. So it came up and the roof was seated in that little area. So what the proposal is to take that 4-inch block off that was loose, ready to fall off, fill the cores with grout, and then build it up with 2x6s and set the roof trusses on top of that. And the quote for that work was $17,744. Those are the 2 quotes for the work to continue at the fire station. And then the last quote that we had was from Myriad Electric. There's a service on the front of the building, an electrical service, and the meters are all inside the building. Current code requires, code and National Grid require the meters to be outside. There are 2 services coming in. The recommendation is to put 1 meter on the building, and it would be 120, 240 amp, 200 amp service. And the quote for Myriad to go and do that work would be $11,200. And we did not include any trades work because we have electrical and mechanical in-house off our term agreements are negotiated. So right now, those are the 3 we're looking for. The 2 for Smith Structures, frame strips 32.3, CMU 17.7, and the Myriad really isn't change. Just to go out and do work under either term agreement for $11,200.
We're looking for about less than 62,000, right? 61 and change. But we need 3 different authorizations.
So do 3 change orders.
3 change orders. Okay, any discussion about this? I mean, this is another kind of have no choice, right? The structural integrity of the building is,
In that shape too, when we.
yeah, we,
We keep it going. Try to keep it going there 50 years. So we can move it around.
what's that?
Busy.
Yes. No, it hasn't been used in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, so the roof, the roof is essential, it's critical, right? Those are. Same with the fern strips, that's rot, you can't let that.
Just keeping the building standing with these.
Right.
So, I mean,
Ring strips are put out with roofing nails.
Yeah.
Into the masonry.
in a concrete. Yeah, so again, I think this is critical in terms of it's our building and it's the structural integrity of the building. We started in the right spot, right? You do the roof and the walls and
You don't do it right now.
foundation before you do the indoors, right? We know there's gonna be additional costs with the interior of this building. We've got the food bank dependent upon this. I don't think I have not communicated with the food bank all summer. They're concerned right now. They absolutely have to get into the building by the end of September. I'm hoping we can guarantee them that. They were pushing for September 1st, but I did see in writing. Did you see that recently?
Yes.
That it has to be the end of September. I think we could.
Smith structure, he's on board with.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Great, that's decent.
Any
Contractor.
Any discussion from the board? I mean, this is falling under Ryan's privy too, right? He's been engaged in all this.
Yeah, been talking about
Yeah. So. What's the pleasure of the board? So can I have two volunteers for first and seconds on a series of these three? All right, I have a motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll entertain a motion for the 32K. That's the furring strips.
32325, right?
Yep.
Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion for the 17.7 for the roof. From, again, Joe, motion from Joe, second from Carrie. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. And I'll entertain a motion on the 11K again,
Electrical service.
electric service, but that's, is it 11? What's the?
2 left.
11.2, sorry, I didn't get the 2. All right, I'll entertain a motion for 11.2 for the electrical service. Motion from Joe, second from Carrie. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. All right, thank you. On the next one, we can defer this one as well because I don't have the numbers. I didn't send this out early enough, but I talked to Doug and I talked to Mark Berger at Soil and Water Conservation District. And this was one of the many things that have been flowing through Doug in terms of our flood control projects. And we have 2 authorizations in place that have really gone unfulfilled. And so what I was going to do is total those 2 back up and transfer them to the Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District. But they have design services that they'll perform. They're doing it in other locations throughout the county. And we're working with them in the Onondaga Creek system as well. And so I'll come back with the total numbers on that. But I want to say it's in the $30,000 range or something. We have like a $17,000 and a $12,000 authorization that we've put forth for flood control / Lake Creek improvements, enhancements. Again, these are part of the projects that I have construction money for as well. And so if we're going to take advantage of that construction, I've got in the $250,000 range. Do you have the numbers?
Yeah, on October of 2023, it was 15,000. Then April 27th of 2020, it was 28,200.
28,000,
23,200.
3,200. So we're looking at total of 38,200,
43,200.
43,000. Okay, that was 2,800.
28,200 for 4, and then 15,000 in October.
43,200. So is the board amenable to just sliding those authorizations to the Onondaga County and Soil and Water Conservation District? Yeah. I,
More information, but if the board's ready to move forward, I'll just abstain.
oh. All right, I can bring it back. These are the flood control. The Reader's Digest version is, I have about 250,000 or $300,000 of authorized construction money at the Onondaga Environmental Institute in a grant. Some of these authorizations go far back as 2021, right? And I'm gonna lose that construction money. But the way we brought it to this board was that the town would give the design work. And so the design work is in total right now $43,200. And these projects would be, from the justification of the town standpoint, is it's flood control, right? We did the flood control at Feldman, right? That helps relieve downstream flooding. And I think there's been a benefit, right? I mean, but if you look at GM Circle or Military Circle, whatever they call it these days, it floods there. And the way to stop the flood from occurring in a system is to build a series of locations, because you can't build one, right? We're not going to build a large scale dam to control flooding in the entire system. So you build a series of locations where water is held back during high flow periods. And it also provides environmental benefit, provides nursery grounds for fish reproduction, provides benefits in terms of water temperature and water quality, sedimentation is lowered in the stream system because you're capturing the water and preventing high flow and scour. So there's a number of environmental benefits to these types of projects. And neighborhoods like Franklin Park and Dunroven, even as far south as the Chick-fil-A, right? These projects have benefit inside a low flat area where the creeks have been turned into trenches and ditches. So these projects revert those trenches and ditches into a more natural system. And we need some designs that then can be transferred to a permit. That permit runs through the DEC and the Army Corps. And what I'm up against right now is I have grants in place to do this work, but I don't have any designs. I gotta get the designs into DEC this winter, if that construction's gonna occur next season. And so if I don't get these, these design works have languished, we just don't have. So I wanna work with the soil and water and push them through this winter, or I'll lose the money that is a benefit to the residents in terms of flood control. If you're a resident and you sit in one of these neighborhoods, your concern is flooding, right? Not a lot of people care about, let's say, the fish or the trench or the trees or the water temperature. I have that money at the Institute. The design work is a benefit to our residents because we can accept stormwaters into these wetlands and get the water out of the neighborhoods in a much quicker and more efficient manner than. So anyways, that's the sale. And I don't have a problem with waiting 2 weeks on the numbers.
Thank you.
You're seeing this.
Table.
Yeah, we can table it. Max will be back. He could be part of that decision as well. Okay, post for the labor position.
We had a resignation in the water department, just like the post, so we can start canvassing for a candidate.
Did they transfer to somewhere else?
Went to Aqua.
Okay, what's the pleasure?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Carrie, a second from Joe. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Town board minutes of July 28th.
Motion to accept.
I have a motion to accept. The second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Check register. Okay, motion from Carrie, a second from Joe. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Town board updates? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session. A motion from Joe, a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Want to thank you all. Have a good day.
Okay.